The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Joined your channel.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sports Insider. I am your host, Glenn Spillman, and thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Coming to you live from the Raven's Nest Winery up here in Lake Tahoe. Again, they're having another wine tasting across these walls, and here I am doing this awesome freaking radio show on Armed Radio every single Friday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific time, and that's 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time. Now, we had some trouble with the phones last week, so I'm going to give you two numbers this time. I'm going to give you the 1-800 number, then I'm going to give you my personal cell number that you can call me on, and then we'll talk sports. So you can call 1-800-508-5431. Again, that's 1-800-508-5431. And if for some reason that goes to voicemail or you can't get through, you can dial 916-420-0697. Again, that is 916-420-0697. Before my show, you had Pop Talk, politically offensive talk, which I listen to every week, and I was listening to tonight, and they had some pretty interesting stuff, to say the least, that they were talking about. One of them was an alcohol enema that they said that college students used to give themselves before they went out because they didn't want alcohol on their breath. One little quick note, watch 1,000 Ways to Die, and actually one guy died from doing that. He had one of those hot water heating packs and stuck a hose up his butt. His wife or girlfriend, whoever it was, put that alcohol in his butt, and boom. And he didn't die right away, but he died relatively quickly, within a couple minutes. They got shows. Go to armedradioglobal.com, go to the top bar, hit shows, or you can do artists, and you can see all the shows that are on there. You've got Mr. Bill, you've got Jamie Lynn and Cindy, you've got Rock Talk with Amy Chafalo, you've got Nighttime with Joe Rocks. The show after this one, though, is Casey Spears, and she is with, it's a show called Betrayal. And if you want to hear an interesting show on some interesting subjects, check it out. Again, it is called Betrayal, and it is from 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern every Friday night. Let's get into some news, shall we? Let me give some one more thing. Let me give some shameful promotions to myself. Got a couple books out. You can type in my name, Glenn Spillman. Go to Amazon.com. Type in my name, Glenn Spillman, and you will see my two books out there, Pandora's Box and also Frostbitten Spirit. And stay tuned because you've got Blood Spirit coming out next week. That is a awesome fiction book. I think it's awesome because I freaking wrote it. But anyway, if you want to listen to the show, you could dial in, tune in. Go to tunein.com, listen to them on us on there if you're in your car, anything like that. Check us out. Speaking of beer, we got some interesting things coming out of Moscow. And with the drug doping agencies in Moscow, a beer with your sample ? That's question. No longer in Russian sports because they are citing aggressive, and I quote, aggressive athletes and interference with drug testing results. So these athletes, what they would be doing is having a beer or two, a pint or two, before their tests, and they would be messing up their results. So Russia has barred sports people from drinking alcohol when they are tested for banned substances. A post-trace beer might help dehydrate athletes produce urine samples, but now they have to stick with large quantities of water provided by the drug testers themselves, and they can't, provide anything themselves. They got to do what the drug testers say. So CEO Margarita if I'm going to butcher her name, Paknotskaya, jeez, that's a weird freaking, sorry for butchering your name. She tells the Associated Press that drinking was a particular problem with track and field athletes, and I quote, they'd be rude and a bit aggressive. Beer was even found to interfere with the results of the biological passport program checking athletes signed for drug use. So, athletes are going to do, people in general, but athletes are going to do anything in their power to mask a drug test. Now, whether they have fake urine, whether they have, someone pee in the bag for them and they pour that bag substance in a cup, blah, 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 blood doping, all this kind of stuff. But you know what, to be honest with you, I didn't even think about a beer interfering with test results. And again, this is just in Russia. This isn't all throughout the sports testing nation. So that was interesting to me. The story interests me. So, what happens if someone drinks vodka or something like that? Man, I am sipping on some really nice homemade coffee in a French press that these guys have given me. And let me tell you, this stuff is awesome. Last week we talked about Robert Kraft. And if you guys want to talk about Robert Kraft, go ahead and call in 916-420-0697, and we will talk a little bit of we'll talk about whatever you want as long as it has to do with sports. And we'll talk about Robert Kraft. Now, they say that the New England's owner visited Florida massage parlor for sex acts, which they say they have on video, but he did it the morning of the AFC Championship game, which he attended in Kansas City, Missouri, later on that day. So do the geography. Pull up a map. Look at Kansas City, Missouri. Then look at, I believe it was Jasper, Florida, or Florida in general, and check that out. Check out the distance between that. So he went there in the morning, went to Kansas City later that day. So according to documents released by the Palm Beach State Attorney's Office on Monday, it was the second visit by Kraft to the parlor in less than 24 hours. So that man must be getting some good juju from these chicks if it's his second visit in 24 hours. The documents say Kraft arrived at the Orchids of Asia Day Spa in a chauffeured 2015 blue Bentley, which is about $150,000, $250,000 car, at 11 a.m. on January 20th. He was videotaped receiving oral and manual sex from a woman at the spa in Jupiter. Officials say he gave her a $100 bill and another bill before leaving at 11:15. So he shows up at 11, and in 15 minutes, he goes in, goes out, little sucky, $5, peace out, and he's gone. So, what's up with that? The AFC Championship game against the Chiefs kicked off at 6:40. So, left at 11:15, got to the Chiefs, kickoff at 6:40, and he's also the owner of the New England Revolution, the Major League Soccer, who that was in attendance as well. I mean, it just still boggles my mind. Twice in 24 hours to this Asian massage parlor. 77-year-old Kraft goes in at 11, checks out at 11:15, and he was also seen soliciting a prostitute on video surveillance just 17 hours earlier on January 19th. And he's officially charged with 2 misdemeanor counts of first-degree solicitation. And a court date has been set for 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, April 24th. And Kraft will have a low-level, I put that in quotes, a low-level arrest warrant issued in his name. Low-level. So think of low-level arrest warrant. It's kind of like a traffic ticket. So you get a traffic ticket. You don't pay for your traffic ticket, so you get a bench warrant. They're not going to go banging down your house or actively looking for you. So, but if you get pulled over in the future, there you go. Bam, that's a low-level arrest warrant. And he's going to need to appear in court, and his lawyer that he hired, Jack Goldberg, from Atterbury, Goldberg, and Weiss, to represent him in the process. If convicted, Kraft could face 1 year in jail, which I very seriously doubt, or a $5,000 fine, 100 hours of community service, and attendance in a human trafficking danger class. Now, I think it's quite interesting that they throw in this community service. Can you imagine a billionaire, Robert Kraft, chilling out next to some other convicts and work projects or something like that? Or, I mean, he could do other community service. It doesn't have to be work project. So I'm sure he'll get a $5,000 fine. I'm sure he'll do 100 hours of community service, which he'll probably do some form of charity, and he'll have the team back him up on that. And my question is, before I take another drink of coffee here, my question is, what should the NFL do to Kraft if he is found guilty? Do they also fine him? Do they suspend him? Do they put sanctions on him? That's a question that I would love for Roger Goodell to answer. Baltimore Ravens released veteran wide receiver Michael Crabtree after a disappointing season, the team announced on Monday. Well, Crabtree used to play for the Texas Tech Raiders. Then he went on to play for the San Francisco 49ers, the Oakland Raiders. Now, well, his former team now, the Baltimore Ravens. He was. I thought he was Butterfingers when he played for the Raiders. He dropped a lot of balls. He's 31 years old, so according to sports years, kind of like dog years, he's getting up there. He's getting old, and not too many people are going to be looking at him. But 31, he was scheduled to receive $2.5 million roster bonus next month and earn $7.5 million in 2019 after leading the NFL with 8 drop passes last season. So Baltimore's kind of smart in their business acumen, if you will. So next month, they save $2.5 million because he's not going to be on the roster anymore. So he's not going to get his bonus. So bye-bye. And the $7.5 million that he was going to get this year, that's $10 million that Mr. Crabtree is not going to get, all because he's Mr. Butterfingers, can't catch balls. In his hands, anyway. So, Baltimore is going to free up $4.667 million in salary cap room, parting ways with Crabtree. Crabtree did make 54 catches, and it's his fewest since his rookie year in 2009. And he only went for 607 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. So, the Ravens, they're looking at Lamar Jackson and for a new franchise quarterback, Lamar Jackson. So I I don't know who's going to pick up Mr. Crabtree, give him another chance. I mean, you might get someone like the Browns. Cleveland Browns might look at him. Oakland Raiders aren't going to look at him anymore. So, all right, looks like we got a caller here. All right, caller, you are on Sports Insider. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yes, my name is Casey. I'm calling from Texas.
Well, what's up in the state of Texas? Hey, I'm an OU guy, so I got to say to you, down with the freaking horns.
Yes, absolutely down with the horns. Go OU, Boomer Sooner.
Oh, wow, that's blasphemy coming from somebody that's in Texas right now. But that's okay.
Yeah, I went to OU.
Oh, well, why'd you go back to Texas?
Well, my family's here.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. All right, what's your question?
Well, yeah, I mean, I lived in Austin for a time, and there's a lot of OU people in Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask a question about not the Frosted Flakes, but Mr. Kellogg and the whole sex scandal that's going on right now. Is that something that is normal that goes on behind closed doors? We're kind of finding out that it is. So what is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you get a lot of scandals. You'll be surprised at what goes on behind closed doors on anything. I mean, think of a sports franchise as a marriage. So you've got the CEO, the GM. So since you're in Texas, I'm going to use Jerry Jones. So Jerry Jones is the husband and the head coach and is the wife, if you will, because he's also the GM. So the head coach is the wife and the players are the kids. So Jerry Jones puts on a very good persona when he's out in public, when he's on the field, when he's in press conferences for the most part. I mean, he's had a few incidents himself, but what really goes on when you go to Jerry World and you go to his office and behind closed doors, what really goes on there? So, do I think that it happens often? Yes. Do we hear about it? Yes. Do we hear less of other things that are happening around other sports leagues? Absolutely.
Yeah, I do think, it goes on because, you hear about all these different things whenever you have a person who leaks information out or whenever they do a bust like they were doing, and they wouldn't stage a bust like this unless they knew that this activity was going on for months. And I just think that there's a lot of things that, dirty deeds that are going on.
Dirty deeds done dirt cheap.
Exactly. Going on that we just don't know about in the sports arena and everything, and just in general. And it's shocking whenever you find how depraved a sport that was originally just a bunch of guys, just having fun,
right,
and just doing it for free and everything, and inventing the sport, how dirty it's become over the years. And I think greed has a lot to do with it, and just greed and lust.
Absolutely. Well, we were talking about Kraft earlier. What are your thoughts on the billionaire driving up in a $250,000 Bentley, chauffeured to a sleazy, little slutty Asian massage parlor, going in at 11 o'clock, coming out at 11:15, and they have him on video getting oral and manual massages, if you will. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, hopefully he'll get tested for an STD or something, or when you do something like that, you really just open yourself up to all kinds of nasty little things. And I feel for his wife.
His wife's dead.
God rest her soul on that one. But yeah, it's disgusting, to be perfectly honest. That, yeah, I just think, I personally think it's disgusting. I think those places should not be around.
Now, do you think that, now he's getting fined, well, I say allegedly, he's going to be fined $5,000, could spend up to a year in jail, 100 hours of community service. Now, do you think that the NFL should punish him as well, since he is a distinguished owner and he just won the Super Bowl? So do you think the NFL should punish him as well?
Yeah, I do. I think that, he's going to get a slap on the wrist. I mean, if he spends any time in jail, I would be shocked. I mean, $5,000 is like $5 to a billionaire.
Yeah, it's like lunch.
And, yeah, that's nothing to them. And, a year in jail, I doubt he'll spend any time in jail. He has powerful lawyers to kind of make things go away.
Right,
and,
absolutely.
I really think that he should not be allowed to be an owner because, young kids look up to these sports teams, and whenever you do things like this, you kind of teach them the wrong message to keep kids, and you should be really teaching sportsmanship, good citizenship to young kids, and be a role model, and not just, a sleazy role model for them. I don't think that he should be allowed to be an owner with that.
All right. All right. Well, I appreciate your call, and thank you for listening to the show. And tune in after Betrayal after this show. So go ahead and tune in and listen to that as well. Go to armradioglobal.com and look at all the other shows on there. Caller, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, cool. Well, these phone lines are open, ladies and gentlemen. 916-420-0697. Give us a call, and we will talk sports. Oakland Raiders are closing in on an agreement that would have them play the 2019 in Oakland Coliseum, their home anyway, with the team option for 2020 as insurance should the team's Las Vegas stadium not be ready. Coliseum Authority, who first have to sign off on the lease extension, which may or may not happen. A vote that might take place by today, which haven't heard anything about that, before approval is required for both Oakland City Council and Alameda County to make it binding. Very interesting. Well, Oakland Raiders kind of shot themselves in the foot when they were pissing and moaning about a new stadium. You don't piss and moan about a stadium when you're not even that good. When you're 8-8, like 3 years in a row, and then you're subpar, you don't make hard negotiations for a new stadium. Start having winning seasons, then come and talk about a new stadium. Now, the NFL is over, but they have the Alliance of American Football, and I've seen a little bit of it. It's kind of okay. I haven't seen the whole game, so I can't really make my judgment yet. But anyway, its co-founder, Charlie Ebersol, and the league itself is being sued in Los Angeles Superior Court by a man who claims the league was his idea. So, in a suit filed, Robert Vanek, the co-founder and current CFO of Treble Music, said he had a handshake agreement with Ebersol that was violated. Vanek is seeking financial damages, equity in the league, and public knowledge of his co-founding role. He says he should have 50% of ownership of the league. Well, first off, Mr. Robert Vanek, if you are a Hollywood person or an LA person, you have to know that a handshake means absolutely freaking nothing in LA. They will shake your hand with their right hand while stabbing you in the back with the left hand. You are an idiot, sir, for doing a handshake agreement, giving up all your information. Dude, For those of you listening to the show in the past, know that I'm an actor and I'm also a filmmaker. Whenever I send anything to anybody that I've written, first off, I register it with the Writers Guild of America. Second off, I make the person sign a contracted NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement, and I have them sign it, and then I talk to them. And then I have things recorded. I have contracts drawn up and registered. So, Robert Vanek didn't do any of this stuff that I know of. And now he wants, so a little narcissism here. He wants public acknowledgement of his co-founding role. So he wants everyone to know, hey, Robert Vanek helped us out. Little narcissism, okay. Wants 50% ownership of the league. Is he going to get it? Don't know. Inquiring minds want to know, and we will find out later. NFL cornerback Adam Pac-Man Jones is in the news. Was in jail Wednesday morning, according to Jones jail records. Jones, 35. He was booked into the Dearborn County Law Enforcement Center at 3:10 a.m. Well. What do you think someone is doing at past midnight at 3:10 a.m. and they're at a Rising Sun casino? What do you think's going on? What one thing do you think happened? Well, if you guess public intoxication, ding, 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 you are a winner. So public intoxication, if you're going to go out and drink, I don't care who you are, but if you're going to go out and drink, you need to be responsible for one. Number two, you need to not act like a freaking complete moron. And number three, have a wingman with you. Have someone with you that's going to kind of control you a little bit and keep your mouth shut. So, I mean, sorry, brother, but, he'll probably get off with a misdemeanor fine and all that. When I find out some more information, I'll let you guys know. So, there was controversy, or if you're an English person, controversy, with the New England Patriots Kansas City Chiefs game. There was controversy with the Los Angeles Rams and the New Orleans Saints football game. Controversy. So, since a missed pass interference call in the NFC Championship game potentially, I put that in quotes, potentially cost the Saints a chance to play in the Super Bowl, all eyes have been on the NFL's competition committee to see if instant replay could be expanded to miss penalties. Oh, dear God in heaven. If you have a replay for every missed penalty that is going on, you could literally have a replay every single play during a football game. Because there's holding on every play somewhere. And, I mean, this is getting ridiculous with the instant replays, my friends. And I cannot express to you enough how ludicrous this is. But, according to Judy Batista, however, fans shouldn't hold their breath for change. So it is unlikely that a change would include non-calls that would get the support required. Batista added that changes to instant replay in general may be proposed, but non-calls in particular may end up being left off the table. End quote. Again, quit pissing and moaning about, oh, I was interfered with, oh, I was grabbed, oh, I was pushed, oh, I was shoved, oh, I was tripped. Go out there, play the game to the best of your ability, and if you get an on-call, you get an on-call. Don't sit there and piss and moan about it, saying, oh, I could be in the Super Bowl because of that call. No, you could be in the Super Bowl if you scored more freaking points and won the game, period. Owings Mills, Maryland's Baltimore Ravens running back Alex Collins was arrested after a car crash about a mile away from the team facility. Ravens spokesperson Chad Steele said the team has spoken with police and is aware of the situation. Of course they are. Collins' car crashed into a tree. How'd that happen? In Owings Mills around 6:48 a.m. according to police. So, Collins, 24, ranked 11th in the NFL in rushing in 2017 with 973 yards and drew national attention for his Irish dancing, celebration dance. Well, now, my friends, you are gaining attention because you can't miss a stationary freaking tree. Oh, man. This next story, there's been several people accused of rape, and there's been several people falsely accused of rape. And a Texas jury has found former Baylor defensive end Sean Oakman not guilty of raping another student in 2016. So, the McLennan County jury deliberated for about 2 hours in Waco on Thursday before acquitting the 26-year-old Oakman of sexual assault. Now, here's the interesting part. The woman said she was raped testified earlier that she had been drinking and was intoxicated when Oakman assaulted her. She said she told Oakman that she wanted to leave his duplex that night, but he wouldn't allow it. So, Oakman's attorney told jurors that the two wanted to be together that night and that they had consensual sex. And they had a previous relationship before that. So, and here is a direct quote. The jury rejected the state's narrative and concluded that the state had failed to prove this was a non-consensual encounter, end quote. This is per Oakman's attorney, Alan Bennett. He also said, Sean and his family are so appreciative of the jury's careful attention to and thoughtful consideration of the evidence. In my 29 years of courtroom experience, I have never experienced a more emotional celebration when a verdict was read, end quote. Now, this football player was once considered a potential second or third round pick in the 2016 NFL draft, but with this black cloud looming over him, obviously that was off the table. Man, could you imagine being accused of rape, knowing that you didn't do it, and then going to court and all this money spent and all the emotion spent, and then getting off like that? I hope that this cat goes back and he tries out, maybe walk on, and someone picks him up. On to Major League Baseball. It's not breaking news anymore, but it was breaking news earlier. Bryce Harper and the Philadelphia Phillies come to a 13-year, $330 million agreement. 13 years, $330 million agreement. That's a lot of G's, brother. And I'm glad that the Phillies picked him up because they said that, and I quote, "We have stupid money to spend on players to restructure our team," end quote. Stupid money, that's ridiculous money, man. $330 million. That beats out Manny Machado's, I believe it was 10 years, $300 million contract with the San Diego Padres. Long Beach officials have reached out to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim about the possibility of the team moving and playing in a new stadium on the city's waterfront. And I quote, "We are in the early stages of our due diligence and are exploring a variety of options for this property," Garcia told the Long Beach Post on Monday. "We have approached the Angels to express our interest and discuss the possibilities of this opportunity," end quote. Now, I've been to the Angels stadium several times. It's a beautiful stadium. I mean, it's right off of Roy Rogers Boulevard, and it's very easy to get to, right down the street from Del Taco. And I always used to pull into Del Taco, get a couple tacos before I went to the stadium. But excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold, so I'm a little stuffy. It's a very nice stadium. So why would you want to... Now, please, for the love of God, I hope they're not called the Long Beach Angels or the LA Angels of Long Beach or Angels of Long Beach. I hope and I pray that they go back to the California Angels. Just be the California Angels. And if you have a waterfront stadium, it appears that the stadium's going to be a 13-acre lot in downtown Long Beach. That was a longtime host for the Ringling Brothers Circus, hence it's nicknamed the Elephant Lot. The Angels, though, even though that it's a beautiful stadium, it's got some modern amenities to it. It's the fourth oldest ballpark in the United States. You still have the two, number one with Wrigley Field, and in the field in Boston. They've been playing since 1966. Looks like we have another call here. Hold on one second here.
Today.
Well, that's not a call. That's a telemarketer. So the Angels have been playing there since 1966. So they themselves have made it clear that they wanted a new facility. So in October of last year, they opted out of their lease with Anaheim so they would not be locked through 2029. Smart move. So this upcoming season might be their very last season. So the city of Anaheim voted in favor of a one-year extension to the stadium, giving both sides more time to come up with a long-term solution. So the Angels are scheduled to play through the 2020 season, and the team is expected to continue exploring potential new homes throughout Southern California, but renovating the current stadium or building a new one in Anaheim is also on the table. Now, if it works out, I would love to see the plans for the stadium in Long Beach. I would love to see how easy it is to get to the ballpark, because the present ballpark, you're coming right off the road. I mean, it's like you're driving down the road and boom, the stadium's right there. It's very easy to get in. The stadium's very easy to get to, and it's very easy to get out of. And for those of you that listen to the show, you know that I like betting and that I am a betting man. And this next story kind of saddens me a little bit. The Nevada Gaming Control has declined Major League Baseball's request to prohibit betting on spring training games. Now, Major League Baseball. Spring training, yes, kind of like glorified practice, but you guys still try and play the game. What's the big deal of people betting on games? Why do you got to be a buzzkill and try and prohibit betting on spring training? What, is it going to make your guys play a little harder? The league had recently submitted a written request to the NGC asking that spring training games be taken off the board at the state's regulated sports books. In declining MLB's request, the NCG wrote, and I quote, "Based on our history and experience in regulating sports wagering, we are not inclined to prohibit our licensed sports books from taking wagers on MLB spring training games. We have a common goal to combat sports bribery and maintain the integrity of your sport and are available to discuss ways we can work together in this effort," end quote. Now, again, I don't think there should be any problem whatsoever on betting on sports, whether it's spring training, preseason, or whatever. MLB was like, well, we do have heightened integrity risks, because they say that players are not expected to give maximum effort. Okay, no, you're not expected to give maximum effort, but you give effort. You just don't go there and lollygag around. So, again, what is it such a big deal betting on these games? You're not putting in maximum effort. People know this. People go to spring training games knowing that they're not going to see, full court press, full contact, all this stuff. So, here is a quote from MLB. And I quote, "Spring training games are exhibition contests in which the primary focus of clubs and players is to prepare for the coming season rather than to win games or perform at maximum effort on every single play. These games are not conducive to betting and carry heightened integrity risks, and states should not permit bookmakers to offer them. Limited and historically in-person betting and spring training is one state did not pose nearly the same integrity risks that widespread betting on spring training in multiple states will pose," end quote. So, again, I don't see the integrity risk on betting. Let people bet. If they want to bet on spring training, so be it. Who cares? Now, with some rule changes in baseball and some new tidbits and shenanigans that they're trying out, they're looking at experimental rule and operation changes, which could include, now get this, people, which can include the use of robotic umpires and moving the mound back. So, a robotic umpire. Moving the mound. Now, moving the mound back, okay, no big deal. But a robotic umpire. Machines are not perfect. Human beings are not perfect. But humans are fallible. They're going to make mistakes. And what are you going to do? Are you going to argue with a robotic umpire if you don't get the call that you want? Are you going to get in the face of a robotic umpire if you don't get the call that you want? But Major League Baseball took a bite of this and announced a 3-year agreement with the Atlantic League on Tuesday, explaining in a news release that the deal will allow MLB to implement changes to Atlantic League playing rule in order to observe the effects of potential future rule changes and equipment, end quote. Now, I don't agree with the robotic freaking umpires. I don't think they should implement them on any level, whether it's single A, double A, triple A, anything like that. Period. End of story. So let's go over some of the, since we're talking about spring training, let's go over some of the scores for March 1st. Now, right now, you've got bottom of the third, you've got the Reds beating the Giants 1-0. Boston Red Sox lost to the Twins 4-3. Phillies 73 over the Pirates, and my beloved Yankees final 2-2 with the Orioles. I don't agree with ties. Play the game till someone freaking wins. But the standings, real quick, we'll just go over the top few. You've got the Los Angeles Dodgers 4-1, and they are 4-1 in their last 10. And then you got underneath them 5-2. You got the Seattle Mariners, who are 5-2 in their last 10. That's in the Cactus League. In the Grapefruit League, you got the Philadelphia Phillies 5-2, Minnesota Twins 5-3, my beloved Yankees not too well. They're 3-2, but they're not as bad as the Boston freaking Red Sox that are way down there at 3-4. NBA playoffs are interesting, to say the least. So you got some teams jockeying for, that coveted 8th spot just so they can get into the playoffs. One of the teams is the LA Lakers, who play the Milwaukee Bucks, Milwaukee Bucks are 47-14. They're in LA playing the Lakers, who are 30-31, and that kicks off at 7:30 tonight. And of course, me being from LA, I am a Laker fan, and they are playing the team with the best record in the league. So, coveted 8th spot is sitting the LA Clippers at 34-29. I'm looking at the Sacramento Kings and the Los Angeles Lakers for that coveted 8th spot. So, you've got the Sacramento Kings, who set 31-30, and the Los Angeles Lakers, who set 30-31. So, you have the Sacramento Kings, the hometown. Their schedule is pretty tough for the next few games. They're at LA Clippers. They're going to lose that one. They're going to pick up a game, hopefully, when they play New York. Boston, they're going to lose that. They can win at New York again, but then they got Washington, Boston, Philly, Chicago, Brooklyn, Dallas, Phoenix, Los Angeles, Sunday, March 24th. So, if the Clippers somehow slip up and lose a few games, and the Kings could win a couple games, and the Lakers could win a couple games, then that's going to make everything interesting. The Kings, however, here in about 10 minutes at home, play the LA Clippers. So if they could beat the Clippers tonight, then they've got a chance to get closer to that 8th spot. Now, granted, they're about 3 games out, but they can gain the game on the LA Clippers. But this is what the Kings have to do. They lost a game the other night and to the Bucks by 1 point. 1. Well, they also missed several free throws. And when you miss free throws, you hurt yourself later in the game. So, the Kings need to jockey up, make them free throws, and fight for that 8th spot, man. So, I'm going to be watching the Kings and Lakers fight for that. And one fight that James Harden lost is his 32-game streak of scoring at least 30 points ended Houston's win over Atlanta. So they won, but you know what? That's fine. You're not going to score 30 points every game. He did it for 32 games. Now that's great. But this next story, when I first read the headline, Hall of Fame center Kareem Abdul-Jabbar puts 4 of his NBA championship rings up for auction, I'm like, what's going on, brother? Why are you selling your rings? Are you going bankrupt? What's going on? But no. Abdul-Jabbar is a huge fan of collecting memorabilia, and he has memorabilia of his own. And so this auction is being conducted by Golden Auctions, with much of the proceeds, I put that in quotes, going to his Skyhook Foundation charity to help benefit kids to learn about science, technology, engineering, and math. How freaking cool is that? I mean, the foundation is phenomenal by itself. I mean, science, technology, engineering, and math. I mean, so he's putting up his 1980, 1985, 1987, and 1988 championship rings. He's putting those up for auction that he won with the LA Lakers. But he's also auctioning off game used, signed, and inscribed basketball from his final game in 1989. So, here is the coolest quote of the day. And I quote, this is from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar himself. And I quote, "When it comes to choosing between storing a championship ring or trophy in a room or providing kids with an opportunity to change their lives, the choice is pretty simple. Sell it all." End quote. How cool is that? I mean, first off, he's going to get tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars from selling his memorabilia. And to help these kids out, I mean, that I've gained so much more respect for Kareem. It's not even funny. So, let's move on. Let's keep it with basketball. Let's move on to NCAA. So, just when you thought you could escape, chill out for a few hours, watch a basketball game, another log gets thrown onto this week's public relations fire for Iowa athletics. Some shenanigans, and shenanigans. So you got the Iowa coach and freshman guard Connor. They were slapped with technical fouls toward the end of the Hawkeyes' ugly 90-70 loss to Ohio State. But this is what happened after the game. So this is what's turning heads, if you will, and talking about this. McCaffrey was following one of the officials down the arena hallway and repeatedly shouting expletives, calling him a cheating expletive and an expletive disgrace. So he's kind of like a husband and wife fighting, if you will. So he's following this ref down, calling him all kinds of expletives after expletive after expletive. And, brother, you just need to keep your mouth shut. You're not going to change the ref's mind during the game. You're not going to change the ref's mind after the game. Now, they'll go back and look at the tapes, and if they made a mistake, they usually admit to it. But for you to go and act like a jackass, sorry, brother. Move on, turn the page. Peace out, man. So, today, we are in March 1st, 2019. What is coming up? One of my favorite things, and that's March Madness. March Madness, you've got some crazy madness going on. And so let's look at the AP top 25. Let's just look at the top 10. You got Gonzaga at number 1, then Virginia, Duke sitting pretty at number 3. They fell 2 spots to number 3. Kentucky, North Carolina, Michigan State, Tennessee, Houston, Michigan, Marquette. March Madness, you can have a 16 seed upset a number 1 seed, and I love seeing that. I absolutely love seeing that. I mean, I don't know, in the past 10 years, you had Wichita State go all the way to the finals. They could have won the finals, and they were they were a team that should have been knocked out in the first go around, and they just kept fighting and kept fighting and kept fighting and kept fighting. And I just love March Madness. I'm going to sit down. I will watch basketball from 9 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. We can't get to our MMA because we are running out of time. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Sports Insider. Again, my name is Glenn Spillman, and I'm your host. Every single Friday night, you've got Sports Insider at 9 p.m. Eastern, followed by Betrayal at 10 p.m. And again, hey, go check out my books on Amazon. Just type in my name, Glenn Spillman. You'll see Frostbitten Spirit and Pandora's Box pop up. And download TuneIn. Go to the TuneIn app. Go to Armed Radio. And listen to all the shows, not just mine. And again, if you want to call next week, write this number down. 916-420-0697. And I will see you guys next week. Peace out. Have a good weekend.